There's a very frayed line at this point going from the Islamic regime to Hezbollah on its ability to fund it, to resupply it, to arm it, to now allow it to survive. It's a very frayed line.
Hezbollah has been tied by the Iranians as a result of this negotiation, or in the course of this negotiation, to the outcomes at hand, to the outcomes that are being discussed. And Israel has had its hand against Hezbollah quite definitely stayed for now. Now, it's recently been reported that the IDF is about to take on a much more offensive posture and actually start moving, in fact, at the time of this recording, start moving beyond southern Lebanon to start taking the fight to Hezbollah beyond the zone in which the IDF is operating currently in a broadly defensive manner and taking, as I said, a much more offensive posture. But there does seem to be a problem here because the situation of having Hezbollah flying these explosive drones onto our troops and even into the homeland is completely untenable. It cannot be expected to be absorbed, and it is one of Israel's non-negotiables. And yet Iran seems to have negotiated with the Americans that this will be allowed, and that the negotiations as they take place between America and Iran encompass Israel's freedom of movement against Hezbollah, which is absolutely an Iranian proxy. How do you think Israel can cut that nexus that the Iranians managed to establish between the Iranian front and the Lebanese front, both when it comes to Iran's pursuit of nuclear weapons, all of the negotiations that are taking place attendant to that, and of course its proxy right on Israel's border?
Well, I don't have all the answers, Benjamin, of course, but the fact is now where some people might have speculated when you say the proxy Hezbollah, the terrorist army in Lebanon, that is holding the nation of Lebanon almost at ransom. Nobody can say it's not a proxy of the Islamic regime in Iran now because they say it is. I mean, it should debunk a lot of the misinformation. I mean, let alone the financial. I mean, just in 2025, they provided $1 billion to Hezbollah. But the fact that they are tying it to this larger operation, as in their kind of negotiation point, this has to be addressed. And then people, and you and I think, talked last. This isn't between Israel and Lebanon. This is about Israel and the terrorist army of Hezbollah, which happens to be within portions of Lebanon. And it's almost, there should be a campaign to free Lebanon of Hezbollah. How to cut those ties, as we've seen Hezbollah being weakened, but definitely not gone, and how long that would take, is that it's a very, I don't want to say as a kind of wishing it away, a very complex situation. So, even the peace that supposedly that is to be sought is a peace between Lebanon and Israel, and they actually have a mutual interest to remove this threat. And what Iran, in my opinion, so there's a very frayed line at this point going from the Islamic regime to Hezbollah on its ability to fund it, to resupply it, to arm it, to now allow it to survive. It's a very frayed line with the loss of a lot of the logistical lines, loss of an air force, loss of the land bridge between Iran through Syria. You have a partner who says that won't happen anymore. Whether you call it, it's a dubious partner, of course. How that plays out, of course, I'm surprised, and I think we all should be surprised at the vulnerability of Israel and the IDF to these fiber optic drones, which have been around now in Ukraine and been the dominant form of low-cost attacks in Ukraine and Russia for a while. That Hezbollah has now caused that, where the one threat was, of course, their rocket supply, to be their asymmetric attack at this point. But there's so much involved in that conversation, very revealing that Iran will make it not a non-negotiable, but one of their priorities of the negotiation is the survival of a terrorist army in a state when the government of that state is also almost with Israel in the campaign to remove them as a military faction within the state of Lebanon. And I know that even within the last few weeks, Hezbollah has called for there to be a revolt of the and takeover of the Lebanese government. I think the United States is actually, side by side with Israel on the goal to remove this threat, of course, to Israel, and that's terrain based. But even the threat to Lebanon and the Lebanese people and all that is associated with that. I don't have a straight answer for you to how to cut the tie. I think it's a very frayed tie. Uh, and we don't want to say the weakest it's ever been, but I mean, it's the weakest position, of course, Hezbollah, with all new leadership that they've been with no real direct resupply, rearmament happening, and their future as they try to figure out their future with their biggest partner, Islamic regime in Iran, directly trying to allow them to survive and set the seeds for rebuilding and the next war. I think there are a lot of people involved in that. I don't know how it plays out. I personally John Spencer do not think that Israel should give up those five strategic vantage points until Hezbollah is no longer a threat to Israel. And I think that could be part of the conversation as they push forward, as you were talking about, to further destroy the decades of military capability that Hezbollah has built inside of Lebanon, preventing the Lebanese army from actually having a chance at disarming them, right? We could talk political military power as we have in other areas, but they have a vast arsenal, and you can just watch the idea feed on the discovery of more and more underground weapons supplies, rocket supplies, as they deal with of course, the tactical threat of these fiber optic drones.